After Rajiv had said that as a Hindu, he believes in reincarnation and karma and worshiping deities, including feminine deities. And the caller hung up on him after saying that he praised his diversity and respected it. Obviously, he didn't respect it. So Rajiv said, this is from part 1. Now this is part 2. This fraud of saying, I respect you, but when you look at the facts, the truth is, there are differences. Respect your faith, your history, and what you practice is fine for you. And I want you to do the same for me. I'm not here to convert you, and I'm not wanting to be converted myself. So we have a coalition of faith that are respecting each other with differences. That's a very powerful thing we should start. Katie Hopkins said it's really powerful. In our schools, our children are being taught that there's no such thing as gender, that we're all the same, male and female, that you can be whatever you wake up feeling like you are. Note from Eve, because of past lives, reincarnation, we have both genders in us. You have been a man, you have been a woman, you have been a tree, you have been an elephant, you've been all sorts of things in the 10,000 plus births you've had. But you, your biological identity, penis or woman, is the ruler of your being. Katie said, the left only wants to tolerate the other, but if they have any views, they don't want to tolerate them anymore. To your point, Rajiv, being tolerated is actually, this is what Rajiv is saying, it's actually very demeaning. Rajiv said, imagine a boss saying, I tolerate you being in my office, or a spouse saying, I tolerate you having dinner with me. I mean, that's an insult. What's wrong with me that you have to tolerate me, you ask yourself. That's like in extended families. If the adult children, this is Eve talking, if the adult children have no gratitude and no respect for their aged parents and are only tolerating them, that would make the parents, lacking love and respect, just want to die. And eventually they lose their will to live and succumb to the lure of death, where they go down to the animal kingdom, no brains, no hearts, or lower, where they experience unspeakable misery. Okay, let me just write, you said. Okay, where when they're down lower than human, they start working themselves back up to the top, the human form, that's the top. This, according to the Saint Sawan Singh, takes about 1 million years of being born, living briefly, miserably, then dying, being reborn, and repeating the cycle over 10,000 plus times before you get a chance to be as human, a chance to save the world. Those people being as human who die and quickly get another human body, another chance to save the world and themselves, have been extraordinarily helpful to the world as humans, such as Mother Teresa, being reborn as royalty, Prince Louis, son of Princess Kate and Prince William, and Princess Diana being reborn as Archie, the son of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. President George Washington being as Immanuel Kant, being reborn as American Glenn Beck, to Michelle being as his first lady. These are people who did good and got bodies right away, you understand? Human bodies, that is. President John Adams being reborn as co-owner of the Blaze TV, being as to Michelle first. Let's see, now John Adams, was reborn as American Mark R. Levine, being as to Michelle Birdsong's first. She was his first lady. President Thomas Jefferson being as American Sean Hannity, to Michelle Birdsong being as his slave common law wife and mother of his children. President James Madison got a body, now has being as American singer Lionel Richie, to Michelle Birdsong has being as his first lady Dolly Madison. President Abraham Lincoln now being as Tony Robbins, to Michelle Birdsong now being as his first lady Mary Todd Lincoln. President Ulysses S. Grant as being as Tchaikovsky, Beethoven being as to Michelle Birdsong his first lady. Henry Ford, Nikola Tesla now being as to Michelle Birdsong. The world's people can change the world by being good, fair. F for feel, air for air. Feel breaths of fresh air to breathe by respecting good. Let's see. Oh, that's God, right? Respecting God. Son's wishes to be paid. His and the universe's cost is $90 septillion. So he can reward his daughter, Eve, mother of all living, Venus, goddess of love, now being as to Michelle Birdsong. Send checks to 148 8th Avenue, St. Francis of Assisi, Residence 3, New York, 10011. You understand what you're doing? You're paying the son so he can reward his daughter for her contribution to the world. And I told you some of them. She was the First Lady of the United States 6 times. Behind every great man is a great woman. She was a great woman behind the great men who were U.S. presidents, 6 of them. And she is happy that the son, God, uses her as his entertainment, as his absorption, because she watches her all the time. So he wants to reward her for her lack of privacy, which she doesn't mind giving up for him, and for her contributions to the world. You'll hear more about her contributions as I read on. Those who do their best, B-E, become S-T-S-T, saints. T-S, talk and share. Those who do their best become saints. They talk and share and remain self-aware. Okay. And they get human bodies right away. They don't have to wait 1,000,000 years and go through unspeakable misery in the lower species. Katie Hopkins said, "I'm certain you're right," to Rajiv. And we have to be passionate about what we love about our nation. A flag, a language, a religion, an anthem. I want to see if we can develop some kind of Now Rajiv is saying this. I want to see if we can develop, let me just write his name in, develop some sort of movement which will bring these ideas together from the UK and India. Katie said, it was your embassy that was defaced and vandalized because we have a Muslim mayor. And I'm ashamed that that happened in England. And I apologize. There are others like myself who will keep fighting back for India. And for our pride. Notes, said Eve. Empress of India has being as Queen Victoria of England, now being as American Robin Michelle Birdsong, destined to be First Lady of America. Now, she's T. Michelle Birdsong's daughter. Will Smith has being as Founding Father John Hancock, destined to be President of the U.S. Tariq Dejani has being as Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he's destined to be mayor of New York City, as being as fan of songwriters, being again as American Edwin Birdsong and his American partner, T. Michelle Birdsong. What it is their debut album title. Rajiv asked, why did the people of London vote for a Pakistani mayor? Pakistani Muslim as mayor. Let's see what she says. Let me turn the page. Katie said, the takeover of our country works in a very simple way. A Muslim population is flooded into an area and the white people move out. So now you have 4 or 5 Muslim families where there used to be one. Mosques spring up to facilitate those families. Funding flows in, and now they coordinate how they vote. So in London, there are densely populations of Muslims who vote according to their religion. Note, that's why Jesus Christ being as Charan Singh, now being as Gurinder Singh Dhillon, said, everybody has to have the same religion if we want to get along. That's why the Founding Fathers gave us a constitutional republic government, not a mob-ruled democratic government. Katie said, because of the densely packed population of Muslims in London is why we have a Muslim mayor. They will keep him in power even though he's failing miserably. Katie said recently, he threw a party for Muslims in the center of London. We have a Muslim police force. We have a Muslim housing association. So he has power and political support because of his religion. Rajiv asked, do you think Islam, and then I noted cockroach consciousness, needs a reformation because they cannot take over the world? It would just be more violence. In fact, the globalists should promote that reformation. If they want human rights as they claim, then they should want reform of Islam. Katie says, I agree, but I sense we're a very, very long way from reforming Islam. We're in a period of silencing, of getting people to be quiet about the problem. We have Pakistani gangs raping our white daughters, and we are not allowed to talk about this. We're not allowed to report it, because I did report it. I had the police in my home telling me I had to be quiet about it or I would go to prison. I think we're a very long way from reform. We're in a period of acceptance and appeasement at the moment. So if we're in denial, okay, this is what Rajiv says. So if we're in denial, Rajiv, all right, HIV said. So if we're in denial because the intellectual discourse has been taken over by the left in alliance with the Islamists, even though it's bad for the so-called ideas and values of the left, so-called human rights, but they are hypocrites. So why they have one set of ideas in practice, they are supporting a kind of religious doctrine which is against human rights. And we have Western families, but they're not calling out the rights that women don't have in Islam. So the first stage has to be to call this bluff. And that is what you're doing, Katie, to spread awareness, to let people know that this duplicity should end. And once there is more honest dialogue, then we can move forward and everybody can say we all have homework to do, house cleaning to do.